Okay, I have some questions and basically kind of a rapid fire round. You don't have to think twice. And it's a mix, not pertaining to any one single country, right? So you have to answer what comes to mind first. So first, I'll start with Eiffel Tower at sunrise or sunset. Choose one.
Sunset.
Okay. Beer in Germany or wine in France. What wins your heart?
Actually, it's good in Belgium, so I'll go with
Okay.
mulled wine in France. Yes.
Okay.
Not wine, mulled.
Most overrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mulled wine in France,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Most overrated tourist attraction you visited.
None. Everything was good.
Yeah. Oh, one city you did move to in a heartbeat out of all the cities you
Bruges.
covered. Bruce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Street food from Belgium or cafe culture in Paris.
Street food in Belgium.
Yeah. Biking through Amsterdam or cruising down the Seine River.
Cruising, any day.
Yeah.
Cruising, yes.
One souvenir you wish you bought but didn't.
No, I'm not a souvenir guy, so
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Funniest local phrase or word you tried to pronounce.
I didn't attempt any.
Your pinch me moment from the trip.
Bruges. How is it that this place exists? Like, how did someone even went about planning something like this? Second is, of course, the Palace of Versailles. I mean,
Yeah.
the sheer vision that someone may have that you can expand a place that can be made so huge and so majestic, it's just otherworldly.
The last one, if you had one extra day in any of these countries, where would you spend it by doing what?
Bruges. I'll spend an extra day in Bruges.
Yeah, you answered that earlier.
I'll spend an extra day in Bruges.
Okay. Hey, hi Shailendra. Welcome to a new episode on Travel with Saave. You are joining us on our first episode, and what's interesting is yesterday I was just checking. So I think last we connected back in 2016, and that is another story because those were the times when we both were entering a new phase of our life. We had just shifted to a new city, and even though we were friends back in our high school days, college days, but I guess we had not connected. And during that time, we went on a trip by ourselves to North India in the Himachal and explored some food options also. But since then, it has been like we are connected on and off on some common grounds for some common interest, but never really connected. So when I messaged you last week that are you interested in sharing your recent trip, and you shared you have been on a recent Europe trip. So that was enlightening because it is since 2016 we haven't connected or discussed anything, be it food, cricket, or trips, right? So welcome once again, and so to viewers who are joining us today, give us an idea of your recent trip, right? You mentioned so there are two statements which stood out. One is that you went to Europe. You mentioned France, Germany, but you said that you had some experience in India and then you decided it will primarily be you are looking out for trips out of India. So, some light first on what happened and why you mentioned in such a way.
Firstly, thank you so much, Prathamesh. It's indeed a pleasure to be on your podcast, and kudos to you for all your content efforts. It does take a village to build what you are doing, but kudos to you. You are doing it as a single man army. So thank you so much for inviting me. To dive into the trip and what happened actually. So I've been an India fan through and through, right? I mean, for the longest time, and I still continue to be the fan of this country, the culture, the heritage we have, and the people we have. I've always been fascinated by the idea of how things change after every 50 kilometers or maybe 30 kilometers in this country, right? Be it
Yes.
language, food, culture, traditions, festivals, customs, everything changes, right?
Yeah.
And so I love India, right? And I've traveled the length and breadth of this country. I've covered more than 26 states, and been to I think 4 or 5 union territories, right? So I love my country. One stark observation came to my mind, which is in Bhubaneswar. Okay, this was in 2023 December. Uh, I landed in Bhubaneswar. I was supposed to go to do the do the triangle there, Konark, Puri.
Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm. Uh, what happened? I ended up feeling that every Indian city looks exactly like any other city in India. The cityscape that you see of Bhubaneswar didn't feel any different from, say, a Thane or a Sangli district, or say even any tier two, tier three town in Karnataka for that matter. So I was like, okay, there is a sea of sameness, so to say, right? I mean, while our heritage is so rich, while everything that is touristy, quote unquote, in our country is
Yeah.
awesome, is beautiful, and something that we are proud of. But what we ourselves have been doing is not really contributing to the surroundings, to the architecture, to the contemporary India, so to say, right?
Yeah.
So that was my realization, and that was like I was like, okay, I have traveled India enough now, and
Yeah.
that was the trigger point where I said, okay, next year I'm definitely traveling to Europe because architecture was something that I was always interested in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was how the decision was made. Unfortunately, I couldn't. Yeah, no, no, sorry. I did actually. 2024 is when I did go to Europe. Yes.
Mhm. So, like you mentioned, right? So you traveled across India. So what is something that intrigues you, right? So when you say I want to travel to some part, be it within India or outside India. So now there are, like, you would know better that there are categories or types of, so some is a one is a tourist, one is an adventure seeker, one is an explorer. How would you define, like, what intrigues you or what makes you travel to different parts of the world or maybe even India? What really fulfills you?
Yeah, I don't want to be a purist here because
Yeah.
I mean uh, there are like to each their own, right? The idea
Yeah.
is to enjoy yourself when you are in a particular place, right? So labels is something that I try to do away from. Personally speaking, what I really love doing is to immerse myself in the place that I'm in. So the first thing that I typically do is definitely try public transport. The second thing that I do is I definitely go for the local cuisine, go to not to the best of the best restaurants in that city,
Yeah.
but go to the local vendors who are famous for their local food items.
Yeah.
The third thing that I definitely do is talk to the rickshawalas and people like
Yeah.
those. And the last thing that I definitely do is I visit at least one a religious site. It could be a temple, mosque, whatever.
Nice.
So that gives me a flavor of the place that I'm.
Basically living like a localite.
Yeah, I mean,
How they would.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I began my argument, right? I try not
Yeah.
having labels associated with me, but
Yeah.
my interest is always in knowing the place way better than simply going there, right? So,
Yeah.
and then from day two onwards is when my explorations begin. When I would like,
Yeah.
I would prefer doing things that are in to-do lists, so to say, that are given by them.
Yeah. Because what I realize now, I have connected with 7 to 8 people while doing this podcast, and each one has his own way of exploring a country. There is no certain single thing, right?
Yeah,
Growing up, we were used to the idea that there is a tours and travel agency, and they take you through some certain sites, and that's the country for us. As we have grown up, and with the advent of internet, we have got to know a lot more things, and the way we approach exploring countries is different,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So now that you explored, like, how do you think about exploring a place? Why Europe and which countries you explored? Why I'm coming to is because my viewpoint is I love Europe or certain countries of Europe because there is history attached to it,
yeah,
and it's in different forms. Not only history in terms of war or just the time period for which the country is in existence
yeah,
and queens and but there are monuments, there is architecture, there is art associated, there is food,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So how did you decide which places you wanted to visit
yeah.
and what was your itinerary?
Yeah, for me, it was very simple.
Yeah.
Firstly, so I'll eliminate the things that
Yeah.
that are easy for me to eliminate, right? So history is something that I was not interested in for a very simple
Yeah.
reason. I mean, Europe's history is bloodied and it runs into centuries, right? So,
Yeah.
and each country has its own, right? I mean, the French history is detailed, the Dutch history is so bloody deep, and then there are, Belgians who have their own Flemish history. So, history
Yeah.
is something that I'm definitely not interested in.
Mm.
Secondly, I can admire art, but I can't immerse myself into art to be able to appreciate the nuances of art, right?
Understood.
Like for example, my wife paints really well, and because of her, I got to
Mm.
know like the water paintings that she makes are
Yeah.
take somewhere around 7 to 8 days for her to finish those. Okay, now those are miniature, very detailed paintings, and because of her, I get to understand. Okay, if there is an
Correct.
artist who has made something intricate, probably it would have taken them 25, 30 days or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So that's how novice I am when it comes to art. So history and art are completely out of the way. What I
Yeah.
really love and what, as I said, motivated me into going to Europe was the fact that I was very keen to understand the civic planning, the architecture that exists outside India, because everything seemed to be same to me here. Okay, so I was
Okay.
very intrigued about the idea कि वहाँ का देखना है मुझे. Like, what is
Yeah.
really happening there? How is it that they have designed things? Why is it that people always say that things that are even 500 years old still function
Yeah.
properly? And then of course the fascination that you've had since childhood, right, which is about the
Mm.
cobbled streets, the food that
Yeah.
people talk about, the weather, the quality of air, the kind of fruits that you get to eat there. So
Mm.
all of those things fascinated me. The idea of backpacking that people always talk about when you are in Europe, the quality of food. I mean, people say while we have an intricate understanding and a detailed way of making
Yeah.
food. Like food for us is art. Europeans, by sheer quality of ingredients that they have, right,
Yeah.
make food that is really really good. While their processes may not be as intricate and as detail oriented as they are in India, but by
Yeah.
sheer quality of ingredients, their food just stands out.
Yeah. So interesting. So my thought has always been what you mentioned at the start, right? Our idea of Europe, right? Because that is painted by a lot of movies, a lot of books in
Yes.
which they describe all the. So when you finished your trip, what was the key takeaway? Was it what you imagined? Was it how you thought it would be, or like India, right? When you covered so much of it, you found some pattern. What do you think? Is Europe very similar across all the countries? Is it very typical, or does it individually stand out? There is uniqueness in each country. They have something of their own.
So this was my first trip. So I really enjoyed going from one place to another. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I did realize was the point that you made. By the end of the trip, when we were returning back from Frankfurt, I
Yeah.
did feel that, hey, there is uniformity in the way things are built across Europe. While the finer details do change, and
Yeah.
it's a very common phrase that a lot of travelers that I know speak of, which is the fact they say after a point of time, everything looks the same in Europe as well. Okay. But I think for people like me who went there for the first time, it was a great
Yeah.
experience. The fact
Yeah.
that in Eindhoven, I got to see that all the houses have a similar design, because and they look the same and it looked picturesque, because hey,
Yeah.
that's how we created pictures or paintings as kids,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
didn't take effort to make every house in the painting that we made look different, right? So
True.
there is symmetry in the way you look at anything in Europe, and what that does is it makes everything look beautiful. Okay. But there's a fine line to it, right? Which is fine print rather, which is the reason all the homes look similar is because the
Yeah.
government has mandated people for them to
Oh.
be building the same structure and those designs have also have to be approved by the government, and even the paint outside the house is kind of approved by the government. So yeah, I
Right.
mean, that's I think my submission on that question.
You mentioned that it once you visit and you find some patterns. So last year, me and my wife visited Egypt, and see, the core reason for me was to look at the pyramid and look at some of the monuments. Right, that was the core trigger for me. But as we explored Egypt, we found out Egypt was also one of the ancient civilizations. India is also. So I am also not too much into history as such. Like I read a lot of history, but what I found out was that we Indian and Egyptian were very similar in terms of the approach to life. What our history is there, right? They also treated all the nature elements as gods and goddesses. Sun, wind, water, everything was in the nature, which Indians also have. There is a god of rain. Uh, the monuments, the history, the approach to life, the spiritual rebirth, karma. So everything was very similar. And very, very funnily, I was discussing with my wife back then that when we start thinking one of the ancient civilizations, we find patterns. And my thought is, I'm more intrigued right now in the past 2, 3 years by history. I visited Hampi, I visited Aurangabad, I visited Egypt, and it was triggered by this fact not to understand but to experience it because mostly we read but don't experience things, right? And but interesting now that you mentioned. So, which all countries you explored on your trip to Europe, and when did you visit? Yeah.
So I went in the month of November.
Yeah.
This was November 2024.
Yeah.
Uh, we entered Europe through France. From
Yeah.
France, we went to Belgium. From Belgium to Netherlands, and from there to Germany, and then back to India.
Yeah. So you guys started from Bangalore, right?
Yeah,
Bangalore to
yeah. So
France.
yes, actually, I was in Bombay then.
Yeah. Okay.
So we did start from Mumbai, and yeah, Mumbai to France was a easy trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So first things first, just an idea of how did you plan? Since this was a trip which you planned yourselves,
yeah,
you decided which all places to visit. How did you plan? Like starting from the flights, the stays, and the visa, right?
yeah,
Because I think if someone is to plan covering multiple countries, one country is still easier, but multiple countries starting from the visa itself, because nowadays Schengen visa is in talks
yeah,
for a lot of wrong reasons, right? So one is that. Second is some insights on how did you finalize booking the stays. When I say booking the stays, as in what was the easiest decision making parameter you took? Yeah, let's look at this and whatever is around that. Like, is it a city center? Is it an Airbnb? What was your thought process about it? And the next is how did you go around? So you mentioned I guess you use the public transport, right? So what are your Ricky you did right for planning the trip? If you can share insights in a nutshell,
yeah, yeah.
that would be good.
So I mean, the question is quite broad. I'll try and
Yeah.
keep it succinct as much as I can.
Yeah.
Uh, so my wife is a pro at planning travel. Actually,
Yeah.
she has been to Europe a couple of times before me. So for her, it was relatively easy to plan this out. The way the trip was structured was she has her office in Nice in
Okay.
France.
Okay.
So she had, and the way the dates were decided were she had to be in Nice for a week for work,
Okay.
and post that we were to do our personal trip, right?
Mhm.
So while she was in Nice first, I was 7 days late, and I then flew into Paris, and then
Okay.
we came together, and then that's how the trip continued.
Yeah.
Now, the way the countries were decided were how is it that you can cover one stretch in one go? And that was the idea of doing it, right? So, what
Yeah.
we figured was, of course, I mean, the country that she has been to, let's not go there, let's try and do new things.
Yeah.
Uh, so while she had been to Amsterdam before, she was gracious enough to, she was like, "Chalo, chalte,
Yeah.
you haven't seen it, let's go." So that was the criteria in terms of what stretch on the map can you cover in one go, so that in the next trip you can plan
Yeah.
for some other coast
Understood.
countries, so that
Yeah.
in the next trip you would be able to cover 3 to 4 countries in one,
Yeah.
right? So that was a primary criteria, and accordingly we chose to do Belgium, because we also wanted to meet Supriya's childhood friend who lives in Eindhoven. So how does one go from France to Eindhoven? We thought, okay, let's take a pit stop in Belgium
Okay.
for 3 to 4 days, and then we go to Netherlands. And then again, she had a friend from her engineering college days who lives in Frankfurt. So for me, everything was fine, right? I mean, I had to
Yeah.
simply say yes, because uh, like
Connecting the
these
dots.
countries
You are
I had
just
not been to. So for me, everything was a
correct.
yes.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, let's go to Germany as the last destination, because we'd be
Yeah.
tired after 10 to 11 days. The last
Yeah.
2 to 3 days, we'll keep it light. We'll stay at my friend's place, eat
Yeah.
Indian food, and come back. So that's how the journey was planned. In terms of visa and things to do, so yes, we were very mindful of the processes involved and how things might turn complicated, because there is a lot of emotion involved, right? You don't want your
Yeah.
visas to get rejected. So the way
Mhm.
we approached it was very straightforward. We said, okay, you are any which way going there for work. You have a
Yeah.
1 year long visa that is already accepted.
Okay.
So it was a no-brainer for me to be applying to the French embassy only. The second thing that we did was I applied, like she became the person who financed the trip for us, right?
Yeah.
So what that did was it removed all the ambiguity with respect to what do I do in life, and what are,
Yeah.
like what is my purpose to travel, etc. Because
Okay.
we made her the person who has the primary source of income in the household,
Yeah.
and because
You as
I
the
was
dependent.
accompanying her, I was like a
Yeah.
dependent on her, right?
Yeah.
So because hers was everything was clear, I
Yeah.
followed her, so that made the visa approval, I think, smoother for us.
So, in similar, because one of my friends recently visited Croatia and
Mhm.
Slovenia. In his case, what happened was he was the primary earner, and his wife is a dentist, so she does not have a regular income, as in salary slip. So what he mentioned over here was for her, she had to present whatever invoices or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where she had to present. They got approval in first go, but so he applied to Croatian embassy. There is a lot of delay in terms of Croatian Schengen visa. If you apply by Croatian embassy, they took 3 months,
Okay.
just a week before the trip they received. So what was your experience? Like how many months
So,
prior to
so
your
for
trip?
us, it was very, very smooth.
Yeah.
Because with French embassy, I think the visa approval processes are
Okay.
very, I would say, like you get a smooth sail, I think, with French
Okay.
embassy, because a couple of my friends who went before us also had a good experience. So I think
Yeah.
it's all down to the paperwork, the way you do and how you
Yeah.
justify your travel. So I had a really good experience. For us, like I applied, and within a couple of weeks the visa was with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great because right now, at least going through all the forums, there is like continuous rant of Indians getting rejected for Schengen visa, right? So that was one thing which I was
Yeah.
keen to listen to. So one part is the visa.
Hmm.
I understand that your wife had an idea. So what was the key basis which you finalized all the stays? Because you
Yeah.
covered a lot of
Yeah.
countries and a lot of
So for
cities.
stays, it was, I mean, very clear for us, the decision making. The
Mm.
criteria we had was we will live as close to the main places of attraction that we want to go to.
Yeah.
And that was very clear. We said, okay, we are not going to stay far away from the city and then come back to the city every
Yeah.
day and, you know, be unnecessarily hassled by the local transport,
Correct.
right? So we were okay with paying the premium of city of living in the most premium
Yeah.
areas of whichever country we went to.
Yeah.
Second piece is with respect to Airbnbs, we were not comfortable because I was traveling for the first time, so I wanted all the
Yeah.
amenities. Like I like as a typical
Yeah.
Indian male. uh, who always has lived a privileged life. For me, it was like I need services to be offered to me. I don't want to go through
Yeah.
the hassle of making my coffee or tea every morning and all that. I want things ready made. So that's
Yeah.
how we ended up choosing hotels over Airbnbs. Perhaps in the second trip we might opt for Airbnbs, but I wanted everything laid
Yeah.
out for me, which is why we ended.
How did you find the experience of hotels also in comparison to India? Because I found, at least in whichever countries I have explored, Indian hospitality is very different.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Without a
yeah,
doubt.
and
Without a doubt.
yeah.
Uh,
So even the thought of hotels, it's not like the experience we have in India.
Not at all.
Very, very different.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Indian hospitality is just leagues apart
Yeah.
from what these guys offer. I mean, I think the hospitality game, we have won it fair and square. There is no
Yeah.
debate on what we do and how we serve our guests. I mean,
Yeah.
the adage goes, Atiti Devo Bhava. So, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So, then maybe let's dive into your trip, right?
Yeah.
So, you first went to France, right? So, how did you start your trip? Day one was at which I guess
So,
it should be Paris, right?
yeah,
Or
so day one we were staying in Latin Quarters. Latin Quarters is a
okay,
place very close to the Notre Dame Cathedral.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I landed in Paris at somewhere around 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning.
yeah,
I rested for a bit, and Supriya was supposed to reach Paris by I think 3, 4 in the afternoon. So yeah, I had my day to myself. I was also tired. I had a
yeah,
very busy 60-day schedule before I took off from Bombay.
yeah,
So yeah, I was in Paris. I just was walking around, went to different parks. There was Pantheon very close to Latin
nice,
Quarters, which houses the work of Marie Curie and Voltaire and whatnot. So I spent some time there, came back, slept off. Then Supriya joined me.
yeah,
So yeah, I think by evening 6 o'clock, 7, we then stepped out for the first time in Paris together, and that was the first time. Like in the evening, we went to Eiffel Tower. Now, Eiffel Tower is a place that you have to go and see in different times of the day. You should see it in the morning, you should see in the afternoon, you should see it in the evening, right? And it looks majestic when you see it in the
yes,
evening. So yeah, and then we had a good meal by the Eiffel Tower. There are a lot of good restaurants there. There's sort of really good food. There's wine. There's good alcohol. So yeah, it was fun. So that was our day one in Paris,
yeah,
and then the elaborate trip kind of extended.
yeah. So, so was Paris only about Eiffel Tower, or you explored other parts, or are
So
there?
we did
Yeah.
spend the next 3 days in
Okay.
Paris. So what we did was we used to travel to XYZ place, come back and rest in
Okay.
Paris. So the
Okay.
next morning we headed to the Palace of Versailles.
Okay.
Majestic place again. Like a place that took 54 years to build. One could just imagine the glory of it, right? It looks regal. It's huge. And huge is not an understatement, okay? Like, is not an overstatement. If you could imagine Lonavala in India, and if you
Yeah.
could imagine yourself going through the highway in Lonavala and you see, it feels as if you are driving through a saucer, right? The
Yeah.
cup and saucer, that saucer. The Palace of Versailles is literally built in a valley that looks like a saucer. It's
Oh, nice.
humongous. There are umpteen number of gardens. There's a lake inside the palace, and the structure is just gargantuan for anyone to make sense of it. And it does feel extremely overwhelming when you look at it from a top view, and the like till the end of the horizon uh
Mm.
is where the length of the palace is.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean that was just mind blowing experience just to be there and see how the kings of the past lived. It was otherworldly experience at Palace of Versailles. And yeah, from there we went to in so and Palace of Versailles does take the entire day of yours.
Okay.
So in the evening we went to Champs-Élysées, where the
Okay.
Arc de Triomphe is, the place where
Yeah.
every year the victory parade happens. It's also the place where Tour de France, ending of the Tour de
That
France race
two
happens
pieces.
at
Yeah.
Champs-Élysées. Great place, great vibe. There are people singing on the road. There are the the best of the best luxury brands that you could think of are on that
Yeah.
street. So be it a Louis Vuitton or a Cartier or any other brand that you could think of, all of it is on that very street. Feels very special, especially because of also of the time that we went to. The weather was chilly. It was
Yeah.
roughly 3-4 degrees, so you get to wear your winter wear. You feel good because of the winter wear, and because Christmas was so close, the
Yeah.
vibe was extremely energetic. People were in a celebratory mode. There was shopping happening. There were kids, running around. So overall, like it feels very
Yeah.
festive, so to say. So yeah, that was our day two in Paris. Day three, we went to Montmartre. Again, just otherworldly place. Uh, Almost as if crafted by a painter.
Oh.
As per his imagination, right? I mean, cobbled streets through and through, built on a hill. At the top of the hill, you see the Saint Basilica Cathedral. It's also a place which is known for its bohemian way of life. Like you see a lot of artists doing live painting there. Mulled wine
Oh,
flowing.
still today also. Today
Yeah, yeah,
also
even
it
today,
lies
yes.
on it.
So we
Nice.
did see, like, we actually wanted, the artist to paint one of those things for us, but then we
Yeah.
realized, okay, these guys might take 30 to 45 minutes odd, and I was a
Yeah.
little impatient about it, so we didn't engage with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, the vibe is just electric. I mean, it's so festive. Like like everyone there is just smiling, like because uh, there is so much happening, right? I mean, on one side there are these paintings being made. On one side,
Yeah.
people are there to experience the place. On the other side, you see, people hunting for or rather looking for places that they might have seen in cinema. So Montmartre is a place where Emily in Paris was shot, right? So
Oh,
people
nice.
run around that place looking for, oh, where was Emily? Where was her office?
And
Where did
is that cafe
she
there?
have her lunch? All of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and when you go at the top of the place where the Saint Basilica is, you also get a top view of the entire city. You also get to spot the Eiffel
Nice.
Tower, which is on the other side. So it's just
Nice.
beautiful. It's majestic. And when you climb down the hill, there's Moulin Rouge. So people who are interested in cabaret
Nice.
dance, the can dance, the cabaret culture rather, they could experience that. But I mean, for me, from a food POV, if I were to,
Yeah.
recount my memories of Montmartre, I think the boulangeries there are just, I don't have words for it, man. I mean, the smell of the bread there is so intoxicating. You just like you are transferred to some other world where these food gods are making things for you. I
Yeah.
mean, and the fact, and that's one very interesting thing that I love about these boulangeries. Like you could buy yourself one slice of pizza and you're good. Like you don't have to buy the whole pizza there. And then there are so many bakery items. If you love bakery items, I mean, boulangeries are the place to be. So yeah, that was fun. And yeah, I think post that we went to the Louvre. So Louvre, like most people end up thinking that it's just the museum, but it's actually
Yeah.
part of the Louvre Palace. which is
Okay.
flanked by, the Tuileries Gardens on the other side.
Yes.
And the buses actually go through the palace, and you go inside the bus, and you end up feeling, oh my God, how huge is this place, that buses are taking you through this place, they are
Yeah.
dropping you at one place, and then you're going to some other. So yeah, I mean, uh, regal is the word, I would say. Just unbelievably good experience in terms of how you feel within, because the place is so lively, like people playing live music everywhere is, like, for us Indians, it feels so magical, like you could
Yes.
stand anywhere and you could find somebody playing some instrument, and
I think
it's
that vibe is you won't find it anywhere in India. As in, first is we don't have winters, at least in Mumbai. Second is Christmas is not celebrated the way it's celebrated there,
yeah.
for obvious reasons. But then wearing the sweaters and jackets
Yeah,
and
I mean,
that
I've
celebratory
lived in
mode.
I've lived in Delhi, Gurgaon for a good
Yeah,
2.5 years, so I know that
yeah,
winter feeling. Like it's
yeah,
just so much fun, and I mean, when we also went to Dalhousie, we
yeah,
didn't go during the Christmas times back then, but
yeah,
like I have been to Mussoorie and Shimla during the Christmas times, and
yeah.
the vibe is really, really good. Like, you want to be there. People talking
I
about
agree.
cakes, people talking about, the fashion is so vibrant during that time. It's very, very special to be there during that time.
One of my cousins actually stays nearby Paris, like one of the small towns
Oh,
near
nice,
Paris.
nice.
And she for years has been seller. So there are two pictures of hers which she makes me. One is Prathamesh, come over here. Here you will find 365 types of cheese and 365 types of wines, one for each day.
Yes.
That's the variety you have of cheese and wine over here.
Yeah.
And obviously, she makes pizzas and sends me photos. She bakes it at home. So, one is that. And second is she says, come over here for 15-20 days, you will love the cafe life and culture.
It is.
Go sit around in the cafe. So my thought is, as in when I want to visit Paris, maybe it's romanticized, but I want to actually join some art workshop.
Do that.
Just go, not tour around, but go sketch, sit in a cafe, and there is no rush in life. I want to experience like
Nice.
that. So when you mentioned about Montmartre, I was very intrigued that actually till date, because what we have heard is about Leonardo and all those times
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
during that time the culture was there, right? There was the culture wherein the disciples used to find and but right now I'm not aware. So since you mentioned moment, that is something which I have
Yeah,
note down.
do go to Montmartre.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, for an artist
and
like
food is
you, you
something
would
even
enjoy.
I'm aligned because so my wife she has been she was in London and she toured around during those 2 years. My brother-in-law also was over there, and they are not the kind of foodies which I am or maybe you associate with, right?
Yeah,
So when you say bakery items or food items or pizzas, I understand where you are coming
yeah,
from.
yeah.
Like we are like pulled by those places,
Yes,
right? We should go and try that.
yes,
We just look at it and say this would be good.
yes.
Uh, because I heard from her that you won't enjoy the pizzas which you find out there, and I always say that maybe you're not understanding where I am coming from. I would love a pizza, right? I would love a pizza, and I'm always telling her, keep जब इटली जाएंगे ना 15 days I would eat pizza and pasta. I'm very clear what it be the taste because I went to Greece and I thoroughly enjoyed the pastas in Greece also, the food in
Yeah,
Greece, wherein I was not aware about the Greek food, Greek cuisine. But I enjoyed the food purely because of the similar fact, the ingredients, right? They
yeah,
keep
the
it
dairy
fresh.
products are just,
They don't try to make anything
yeah, nothing is
different, right? They keep it
adulterated.
fresh.
Interesting fact about these restaurants and cafes in Paris, and probably I don't know if it extends to the entirety of Europe, but Paris in
Yeah,
particular. Okay, like the things that you see in films, right? You always see actors. Typically, you see this. You see the actors dining outside the
yeah,
main dining area there, and it's literally on the street, right?
yeah,
And yet it's comfortable. One,
yeah,
because of the weather. Two, the
yeah,
vehicles don't honk. And
yeah,
three, outdoor seating is always refreshing. you know.
Yeah,
You
I
don't feel
agree.
constricted by the place. And what that does is, if you see, the facade of all of these restaurants and cafe are red in color. And the way we approach restaurants and cafes in India, right? We look for which is the new place, what are the
Yeah,
ratings, what is the word of mouth, what is it that people are saying on Instagram reels, etc.
yeah,
In Paris, a lot of these restaurants end up looking the same, right? So it becomes very difficult for us to make a decision on where to go. Okay. So
yeah,
typically you go based on the Google reviews and what people have said,
yeah.
etc. But having said that, you would feel that all the restaurants look the same in Paris.
So I think it's maybe across. So I felt the same in Greece also. I felt the same in Turkey also. There are a lot of restaurants, at least in downtown, what you call, right? Which are like, and we always chose the outdoor seating, right? And for some reason, all the three reasons which you mentioned, why three, I would add a fourth one. There is no pollution.
Yeah,
What that does is it feels good to be in the nature and eating outside,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
There is no honking, there is no pollution. You can see people walking by and they are having a chat. Someone might call. So that feels very, very down to earth and very refreshing.
yeah, yeah,
Something we are not used to. We look for hotels with better interiors, better ambience,
yeah,
right? But over there, it's the exact opposite thing which we seek for,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Beautiful cafes and
You want to look
having food
around, you
and
want to observe people, you want to see
yeah,
the cars, you want to see,
yeah,
civic discipline, how people
yeah,
behave,
yeah,
what is happening, how do people react to food, how do people react with
yeah.
each other. It feels good.
In fact, one of the fun facts, I at least when I walk by such streets, I look for what people are eating and what smells good, right? And I decide basis that where to, in which restaurant to enter and
Yeah,
have food.
yeah, yeah,
I guess that was Paris.
yeah.
Anything which stood out for you apart from these things in Paris? So maybe Paris is known also for fashion and
Oh
those
my
things
God,
apart, right?
sorry, sorry,
So
sorry,
what
I
was it?
forgot this. Man, the fashion of Paris. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I mean, any layman in Paris seems as if they are doing a ramp walk. Like, oh my God, they are so on point with the things that they wear, the makeup they put, the hair, the way it is styled. Uh, Paris, like it's a live fashion show happening on every street. I mean,
Nice.
fashion-wise, there is no comparison. Like, I haven't been to Milan. I have heard
Yeah.
similar things about Milan from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all like of all the cities that I travel to in Europe, Paris fashion is just a different ball game altogether.
So, so that was Paris, right? So,
Yeah.
so what was the next bit stop from France?
From France, we went to Brussels. We traveled by bus. We took a Flix bus. It was,
Okay,
I think, 5 hours long journey. It also
yeah,
started raining actually because in different parts of Europe it had started snowing too.
okay,
So, I mean, it was very gloomy. The experience wasn't that great, but I mean, to be fair, you don't get to see anything on either sides of the road, right? I mean, it's
yeah,
just vast expanses of land. Uh, and that is across the countries that we went to, from France to Brussels, from Brussels to Bruges, and Bruges, and from there
yeah,
when we came back to Brussels, and then when we went back to Eindhoven, Amsterdam, everything is just flat. And one of those dark things that struck me while I was observing the topography of the place, I
yeah.
realized that, I mean, on such a flat topography,
Mhm.
I just couldn't fathom the fact that how is it that people were fighting world wars in this topography? Like, it made so much sense that people were
Yeah,
dying by thousands and lakhs because there is nowhere to hide. The
yeah,
only way
yeah.
you can hide is by building bunkers and going below the ground. Because otherwise,
Even that requires forest cover. You require forest cover to actually hide in
yeah,
bunkers
I
and
mean,
all, like Vietnam. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, forest cover, yes, but I mean, you don't get to see abundance of forest also. Like, there could be different forests in different countries
Yeah.
there, but I mean, looking at just the topography of it, it felt as if, oh my God, like people died in lakhs during the World War made so much sense because, of course, like there is no cover for people to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went to Brussels on day one.
Yeah.
Like we went there, it was a little gloomy. We rested, we went for a walk, went to the city square. Like every main European city ends up having a city square where there is a main castle of the king of those times. So I mean, Brussels also had a great celebratory vibe going because of the Christmas. So it was brilliant. So on day one in Brussels, we just walked around. From there, we in the evening we went to Delirium Cafe. So Delirium Cafe is one of those places. I don't think I'd be adding a lot of value by saying Delirium Cafe because anyone who goes to Brussels does end up visiting Delirium Cafe. But I want to call
Okay.
it out because I love the place so much. Uh, One should definitely go to Delirium Cafe at least once in their life. Uh, Great beers, great flavors. I mean, my personal favorite was the cherry flavored beer that they serve. And it is probably a memory of my lifetime that I had with that one single flavor.
It was recommended to you by one, or it was
No,
basis
actually,
online review?
Google reviews. It was all Google reviews. I mean, we searched for
Yeah.
it. We went there, and later when I told my friends about it, my friends were like, "Arey, this was the place that we were telling you about." I was like, "Okay." I didn't know. I couldn't recall, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
probably the fortune was kind, and I just happened to be there. So yeah, I mean, day one in Brussels was quite chill. Day two was probably the highest point of the trip. We went to Bruges. Bruges is a very small town in probably, I don't know if I'm right, but northwest Belgium. It's a place known for absurdly beautiful buildings. It has
Okay.
oh my God, like it is one of those places where you don't have to create a frame for your camera. Hold your camera anywhere, anyhow, click a picture, and it's a good picture. The sky is clean, you have cobbled streets below you, there is a canal on the side, there is a building whose shadow falls into the canal, there are trees lining the streets, there are restaurants that are around, there are people who are walking around, and there are those uh, you know, medieval those horse carts of medieval times, like regal horses,
Yeah.
like huge horses, walking beside you. And then there are those strips within Brussels which go through the canals and show
Yeah.
you the medieval architecture. But Brussels, I think that's one place that uh, deserves a trip of its own. Like if someone can find time on their trip and just spend
Yeah.
probably a night and 2 days in Brussels, that's the
Okay.
only way you can do justice to that place.
But
Unfortunately, we didn't have
when
that
you
much
say
time.
2 days just to stroll around and
Yeah,
sink it in, or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
stroll around and sink it in. Like
Yeah.
absorb the place as much as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, we were there for good 4 or 5 hours, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, imagine like within those 4 or 5 hours, I mean, I have a memory of a lifetime there. So yeah, Brussels, like Bruges is very very special. So yeah, from there we went to Ghent. Now Ghent is again a very interesting place. Okay, so I mean the architecture that you see in Ghent is a combination of medieval plus contemporary times. So you don't
Okay.
just get to see, uniformity in architecture all over, or those typical yellow, red, white combinations of paint on the buildings. On the contrary, everything seems black and white in Ghent. Okay.
Nice.
And uh, it seems as if like it's a place uh right from the set of Game of Thrones, perhaps. Okay, like not the exterior of it, but the interior of it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all the buildings are roughly, black and white in color, and they are, very intricate, very finely detailed, tall structures, all of that, and also very, I would say, overpowering. As architecture, you feel very small in front of it, because it's not like one building is like that. Like the entire city is full of these monuments, one after the other. So it does get a little overpowering on you. But again, a great place to walk around, canals all around, has a proper city vibe to it. Like in Bruges, what happens is you feel like you've went back in time. In Ghent,
Mm.
it's like present and thoda sa, flavor of the past, and it's like
Uh,
it's a teleport of sorts. Like you are in the present, but in the same moment, you're also trying to experience
Flashback.
from the medieval
Right.
times. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that
So
was like
listening to
Bruges
you,
and Ghent was the peak of our trip. I mean, the peak came a little too early,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, that was the peak.
I guess listening to you, have you read the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn
I
Rand?
haven't. I haven't.
Uh, you will like it if you're because listening to you, I understood you like to observe uh, minor things, minor details,
Hmm,
get the vibe of the place.
hmm.
And so, Atlas Shrugged is about an architect and his principles of how a building should be, and there is a story around it. But I think you will like it because the way you're describing the cities, right? It's literally painting them on canvas. It's like one can visualize, one can draw it to the minute, minute details, how it should be, right? And very interesting because I think what has happened is when I listen to stories or episodes, the way each one describes tells how they are in person or how they look
How
at
they
the
see
world,
the
right?
place, yeah, yeah. How
Yeah.
they view the world.
So very intriguing because maybe you are one of the first ones who is describing it in this way, and that reminded me of Atlas Shrugged. Because you will like that book. You should definitely read it, though it is a big one, 700-800 pages, but do
Yeah,
go through.
yeah. Hopefully someday. I
So
think that was the only reason I couldn't muster the courage to finish the
you
book.
will love it.
But I'm
Some of
aware of the John Galt speech, the 70 pages long speech that Atlas Shrugged has. So yeah, someday.
so Ghent you described. So was Game of Thrones shot over there, or was it like the vibe you described, which you
Sorry, come
mentioned?
again?
Was Game of Thrones shot over
Oh, no,
there,
no,
or
no, no.
was
I
it the
don't know
vibe you
where Game of
mentioned?
Thrones was shot,
Okay.
but uh, it seemed like one of those, like
Yeah. Okay.
so if you could visualize uh the main seat that you get to see in Game of
Industry.
Thrones, which is the main key show art of the main poster
Yeah.
of the show, which is made of the swords, everything, which is black
Yeah.
in color.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when the kings address the
Yeah.
court, so imagine the interiors of the court, right? In Game of Thrones, it's
Yeah.
it's typically dark. It's black and white is the color scheme of that particular visual, right? Now just extrapolate that into the exterior as well. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's
Understood.
that's how Ghent is.
Since now you're detailing it out, I just feel Game of Thrones production should be actually a case study for all the streams, right? Who are doing MBAs, who are into marketing, who are into architecture,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
are into any kind of creative stuff, because it's brilliant.
yeah, yeah,
Each detail, each view, each set, I think it was brilliant. Even
yeah,
the editing part.
yeah.
But let's move back. So that was
Yeah, so that was
Brussels,
that
right?
was Belgium for us. So the
Yeah,
next
Belgium.
day we wanted to explore Brussels. We wanted to see
Yeah,
the Cinquantin Park, and we wanted to
yeah,
chill also a little because
yeah,
the Bruges and Ghent trip took a toll on
yeah.
us, and the weather was also a little too harsh.
Okay.
So we decided that one more day we'll just stay in Brussels, walk around, and Brussels is also like one of the very important political centers of Europe,
Yeah,
right? So a lot of important buildings exist there.
yeah.
So yeah, we went to Cinquantin Park, and then there were few things to just walk around and observe and all of that. So yeah, that was Brussels.
So what about food? Because Belgium is associated
Food
with
is brilliant.
certain food
The
also.
food scene is
Yeah,
brilliant. Like if you are someone who enjoys hot waffles,
yeah,
it's the place to be.
yeah,
I mean, the mulled wine and the rest of the wines are always available during the winters. I like the food. The food was
yeah,
definitely good, but nothing that I could, like talk to you about off the hat and tell you, oh, this was great, and one should definitely
yeah.
try this. Nothing of that sort. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next stop was from Belgium. I
Yeah.
guess
So
you
from
guys went
here,
to Netherlands. Yeah,
like I think we are done by roughly 7 days of the trip by now. So
yeah,
half the trip was done. From here we went to Eindhoven, where Supriya's childhood friend,
yeah.
lived. So yeah, I mean, it took us quite a lot of time to reach. I don't remember now exactly how much time, etc. But yeah, I think. Yeah, I think we reached late in the evening and we just rested on that particular day. The next day was the second peak of the trip that we
Okay.
had, which is Zaanse Schaans. Now, Zaanse Schaans is a place where you find those old, wooden windmills. It's a place that has lush green meadows, that's water
Yeah.
around. So your typical, memories of childhood, where small kids would create those three mountains, and then there would
Yeah.
be a river flowing, and there would be
Birds flying over
yeah,
one
and there
sun, one
birds
hut.
flying, and there would be
Yeah.
grass all around.
Yeah.
That's exactly the place. That's exactly what Zanskans is. Uh, the only difference being there are no mountains. It's a flat
Yeah.
topography,
Flat topography. Mm.
uh, grass all around, uh, water in different lanes or canals, if I can call it. I don't know if
Yeah.
canals is the right word to use, but there is plenty of water in Zanskans. There are live, chocolate workshops that you get to attend. There is cheese being made,
Yeah.
and that cheese does taste different. It's not your regular run-of-the-mill cheese. There are different flavors of cheese, and
Yeah.
it's a so cheese is a I think cheese is a world in itself, right? I mean, if you love cheese, you can just immerse yourself into that and
Yeah.
just have a gala time. So Zanskans is all about being in. So it's a very small village of sorts. You would roughly walk 4 to 5 kilometers inside and 4 to 5 kilometers back. That's it, and you'll be done for the day because uh, reaching Zanskans takes a bit of time. So
Yeah.
you spend good 6, 7, 8 hours in the place. You eat,
Mm.
you travel, you walk, you explore,
Right.
and you're done by the time you're done, it's good 4, 5 p.m. in the evening. So during the day, you can just do Zanskans, and from there we went to Amsterdam. Amsterdam, like, I mean, the tales of Amsterdam are quite fabled. Everyone
Yeah.
knows what they do in Amsterdam, so we did the same
Yeah.
things. But again, Amsterdam does bedazzle you with the architecture. There are so many good things
Yeah.
to see, observe. The vibe is just amazing. That city does feel like an engineering marvel for sure because when you get to know things like it's a city that's actually under the sea level, you know
Yeah.
and
Right.
then you get to see all these magnificent structures all around you. It's just amazing. You get to see cycles, people running on cycles everywhere, very beautiful surroundings all around. um, uh, it's a place with a lot of good energy that you experience. But one thing that I would love to talk about Amsterdam, it's a
Mm.
very small point, but there is a place which serves really good brownies.
Mm.
The name of that place is Wonstapeel. Okay.
Okay.
So I urge your viewers whenever they go to Amsterdam, it's a very famous place in Amsterdam. Do go to that place who serve those cookies as well as brownies at Wonstapeel.
Oh,
From
surely,
there
surely.
we went to Eindhoven again. We chilled with our friends for a day, and then we went to Valkenburg. Valkenburg again is a very small village in Netherlands. The uniqueness of that place is it has a point where the borders of three countries come together: France,
Oh,
Germany,
yes.
and Netherlands. So yeah, it's a nice scenic uh, town village slash village that you see. So you get to experience the vibe of a European village, how it is.
Nice.
Like the pace of the cars and the way you meet the main city. So
Yeah,
the amalgamation of like a small town meeting the main highway, and from the main highway you will eventually reach the main city.
yeah.
That transition you get to observe, which for me was very special.
Nice.
And yeah, it's good. I think 80 to 100 odd kilometers from Eindhoven, the place where our
Okay.
friends lived. Yeah, I mean, the vehicles run at a speed of 100 kph there. So it's
So how did you hear about this? Because this is not
this
something
was
which is
planned
taught.
by our friends. It wasn't
Okay.
something that.
Because Montmartre, I haven't heard about
Yeah.
Montmartre. Maybe it's
Yeah.
famous,
So
but Valkenburg, Montmartre, these are things which I'm
yeah.
hearing for the first time.
Yeah. So this was not our brains. It was planned by our friends. They said,
Nice.
now that you've seen so many cities of Europe,
Yeah.
let's take you to a European village. You get to see that vibe as
Yes.
well. So
Yeah.
so we like kind of surrendered our time to them, and we said, you plan.
I think that's great also, no, because this is something beyond what we have thought of or we
Yeah.
are known of.
Yeah.
We are knowing something about. So like Amsterdam, you associate something. Belgium, like I asked you about the food, or we have seen pictures and
Yeah.
heard from others experiences, but these are things which rarely we hear about
Yeah.
the small towns and what exists out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was Netherlands. Anything about Netherlands which struck you the most, which was different from France and Belgium, like
Commonality was mainly this, yeah. I mean, the topography is
yeah,
just flat. Like
yeah,
you don't get like in India, like you move from one city to another, there are mountains all along not the mountains, but
yeah,
the
yeah,
hillocks and the hills are all along the way.
correct.
And then there are farmlands, and then there are
Yeah,
rivers and different water
yeah,
bodies and things to that effect, right? In Amsterdam, you do get to see farms, you do get to see some
yeah.
water bodies, but everything is just flat. So yeah, I think that was a unique thing to observe.
Yeah, yes. So next, I guess, was your
Yeah,
last country
last place
in your
was
trip.
Germany. We went to Frankfurt.
Yeah,
I mean, by the time we reached Frankfurt, we had fallen sick by the cold.
yeah,
So the first 2 days we did not do anything. We just had our paracetamols and laid in within those blankets that we were served. Uh, and then we had Rajma Chawal for the first time after 11, 12 odd days. It felt magical. It felt as if someone just took us back to the homeland. So that was the
yeah,
beauty of the first 2 days in Germany. Uh, Frankfurt, from a city POV, it's a modern city. It's a new city. It's a financial hub of sorts.
yeah.
So if I were to explain the cityscape of Frankfurt, it very much looks like Parel in Bombay. Like like glass buildings all over. You do get like you do understand that a lot of people come to work
Yeah,
here. Maybe they would have maybe there would be a lot of immigrants in the city who may
yeah.
have come from different parts of Europe to work here. But yeah, the cityscape is uh, and I'm not exaggerating. It actually looks
I,
like
I, I
Parel,
agree.
Frankfurt. Yeah, and because I mean, by the time we were in Frankfurt, it was roughly I think 9th or 10th of December. So Christmassy vibes just were peaking by
Yeah,
now. We were just 15 days away from Christmas, so a lot of good Christmas markets, beautiful arrangements in the city centers were being made. So we enjoyed a lot of that, and then lo and behold, we decided to have Indian food in Frankfurt, and there was a shetty. who was running a very famous restaurant, which was an Indian restaurant that we went for. And I'm not kidding. It actually served one of the best butter chickens I've had in my life. Probably again because of the ingredients, right? I mean, that is the argument
Yeah.
that people hold, that I mean the ingredients are probably so fresh. So yeah, we ended up befriending that guy, the Shetty from the 80s, who became an immigrant in Germany and now runs a restaurant there. So yeah, I mean, post that, we said at least let's we had one day. We said okay, the health was kind of dodgy, but 50% good, 50% unwell. So we said, okay, let's make use of our time. And we went to Heidelberg Castle. So Heidelberg Castle is a castle built on the banks of River Neckar. And the way it is, so typically castles are built on a hill or a hillock. Okay.
Yeah.
So the structure of the place is like the castle is built here. The the common man or the village is settled here,
Mm.
and then there's a river that flows through. So when you are on the top of the castle, when you are
Mm.
viewing the city from a vantage point, you get to see like these three layers all along, right? And
Yeah.
the 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 brilliance of these guys in identifying a location where they build something like this is so on point that, I mean, when you go to the top of the Heidelberg Castle, you will see the river that they have at the base of this particular hillock is
Mm.
actually a river that travels through the length of that place. Okay, so you're on the top and the river just ends into the horizon,
Yeah.
and everything is built, like all the cities are built adjacent to the banks of the river on both sides. So it's one of those picturesque places that one should go to. And also one piece that I did feel when we went to Heidelberg Castle was like, because we see a lot of these reels on Instagram, right?
Correct.
uh, it did feel a little like Switzerland as well, because Swiss and Germany, they kind of have
Yeah.
some similarities going for themselves. So it did feel a little like Switzerland, that place. So yeah, because of Heidelberg Castle, the trip ended on a high. Otherwise, I think Frankfurt would have been a little bit of a downer. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. The thing which you're mentioning, right? So the Shetty, the restaurant. Interestingly, the last two, three podcasts which I connected with my friends, right? So one was for Alaska, in winter's Northern Lights. Over there, my friend had an Indian meal in a town in winters in Alaska, and it was one of the best Indian meals he had in US. Second, the one which I released today was about Fiji Islands, above New Zealand, whatever. There, Hindi is a national language, one of the national languages. And the reason is there are a lot of Indian origin, descendants. Uh, Now you mentioned Shetty is there since 1980s. I'm very sure 100 years down the line, everywhere, what English is as a national language, Indians language. So Singapore has Tamil as one of the four national languages. Fiji has Fiji Hindi. And what I'm seeing a pattern is that people are seeing some or the other Indian origin stuff in different corners of the country, not even like main cities, right? And that is the pattern which I'm seeing right now. So I don't know. So I spoke about this to my wife, I guess day before yesterday only. 100 साल बाद Indian सब जगह पे दिखेंगे, as in terms of already we are seeing Indian CEOs, prime ministers of Indian regions. Not far away, maybe 100 years down the line, Indians would be appearing everywhere, and it would be just the name of the countries which would be there, but governed and monitored and driven by Indians. Maybe that's how it is with the population we have. Uh, that's an end game which might happen. But yeah, so I think that was similar to what you mentioned, right? So when we also visited Greece in December, my wife fell sick on the second last day of the trip. And while I had pizza, she had dal chawal. And it was a similar thing, which, but post that, we generally avoid taking winter vacations in Europe because she doesn't. I think the winter doesn't suit her, and so we have decided that any Euro trips we try to plan for August, September, or October.
Yeah,
That's our
so
thought. But uh, I think the four countries which you covered, I had some brief idea, but you covered some of the very different villages or parts of the country which I was not aware about. So that was a key takeaway for me. And the way you described it, I think I was not expecting some parts of it because what I generally listen to is यार बेल्जियम में ये जाके ये करना होता है, ये रहता है. But I think what stood out for me was how you described the architecture and how the country is built around, right? That was very fascinating for me, not as a viewer, but as a participant in this discussion to listen to, right? So thanks for this. But
well,
I have certain few questions apart from this, right? So this was you mentioned well you took bus and public transport, but for exploring the city, right? So how did you navigate around using cab or public transport? What was the core
so
mode of transport?
very simple, right? It was always public transport and then you walk. Like Bruges,
Okay,
we explored the
okay,
entirety of Bruges just by walking. So
okay,
what we did was from Brussels to Bruges, you take the train, you land in Bruges and then
okay,
you walk. Similarly, you come back
okay,
to the metro station, go to Ghent, then walk.
okay.
So like typically the way people say, right? You walk at
Yeah,
least 18 odd
yeah,
kilometers when
yeah,
you
yeah.
are in Europe. That's very true because this is how you explore the city. Yeah.
So so the second part is you mentioned you covered using the public transport metro. So any card, metro card. So is it one card which you avail or you availed different metro
Yeah.
cards in each country?
Yeah, great question. So, every country has their own thing going,
Yeah,
and rarely it happens that I think it happened to us in Paris where the way we have blue line, green line, violet line in Delhi,
yeah.
that way they have two different forms of
Okay,
metros in Paris. So that is one place where you have to be little careful about which particular ticket you are buying. Uh,
okay,
uh, Rest, every country has their own metro going, and you can take
okay.
that metro and travel peacefully. The other bit is, people always ask, should we buy a card or should we just buy tickets on the
Buy
go?
ticket. Yeah.
So we preferred buying tickets on the go for a very simple
Okay,
reason because we didn't know what we would do by the end of the day. So
okay.
for us, it was like if it gets too dark, because we planned the trip in a way where we wanted to walk a lot.
Yeah,
Uh, we were not sure whether we would be able to end the day in time. So if we are way too far from our place of residence, then we
yeah,
planned on staying in whichever city that we were in. So for example, Ghent to Brussels is a 3 hour long drive, right?
yeah.
So similarly, uh, Amsterdam to Eindhoven, the place where our friends live, that's again a 3 hour long drive. So we were
Yeah.
very careful about these things, and accordingly we chose things like buying the tickets on the fly versus buying a
Okay.
card to do things.
Okay. And second question is how did you go about the currency? So you used cards, credit
No.
or debit card,
So
or you
two
used
things. We did two things.
yeah.
We had a credit card on which we activated international transactions, and we
Okay.
also carried 50,000 rupees worth
Yeah.
euros with us.
Yeah.
We did all the transactions with the international credit card that we had.
Okay.
The cash was only used to buy tickets and things to that effect. Because
Okay.
typically you would not get like you may
Yeah.
not have a card transaction that is easy to do. The other bit is cash is also very easy to be disbursed while buying the metro tickets, right?
Okay.
So that is where we used cash, but
Okay. But cards are accepted
yeah,
everywhere,
so
right?
our primary usage of cards was like food is the biggest expense when you travel, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for all food bills, we were using the cards. For
Okay.
all the metro travel, we were using the cash.
Okay. So, one closure question. So, since we started at this point discussing what made you think now I have to explore outside India, what is the one key thing which you found difference between European cities and Indian cities? And maybe even the people, anything, not only cities, but maybe people, culture, which stood out very, very fine for you. And it was like key differentiated in a good way. Like maybe they are better than us in that sense. And it was something which you did not anticipate, maybe either ways.
So I think one piece of information is I can't really comment on people, but I'll probably try and answer this question from the POV of my personality. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm not someone who enjoys using Google to figure out things.
Okay.
I'm one of those who would ask someone when I'm
Ask me.
on the go and like I'll ask for help, tell
Yeah.
me what to do and how to go about things, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think the familiarity of culture that we have in India, it's way too easy for me to just walk up to someone and ask for
Yeah.
help, right?
Yeah.
In Europe, one cannot do that because you
Okay.
have to figure out things to be able to, uh, do things. Uh, the second bit, I think, what really works in Europe though is again the uniformity factor, but in terms of civic planning and transport design, it's very easy to figure out the transport, the way it works, which train to take from which destination to another. The public transport is so smooth that life doesn't get disrupted. Like it's way too continuous. So and that continuum doesn't break when you use public transport. So I think that's a big plus. And you travel with dignity intact. You don't get hassled in public transport at all. You also don't feel little because everyone is traveling in public transport. So I think that's a
Straightforward.
big plus there.
Yeah. I think that's very well. That's a good observation, I guess.
Hmm.
More than anything, the one thing which you mentioned about, I think as a Mumbaiker, if you may say, we are used to
Yeah,
asking things on the go.
yeah,
We never really think about, yeah, पहले देख के जाते हैं where things are, how to, which card, which turn to take, which
yeah,
route to take. I think even outside Mumbai, it's a bit tough. The way I experienced it in Delhi, it was different because I was into sales and I used to ask for directions daily and I used to get lost a lot of
yeah.
times or they used to give me wrong estimate. So, so I think that's a trait of proper Mumbai. But I think thanks for your insights into this trip.
Yeah.
And something which, as I mentioned, I was not anticipating is the detailing with which you shared, right, about each aspect of the city. So what's next on your mind when it comes to Europe or outside Europe? What are you planning now for this year?
A lot of things. So there are 2 to 3 trips that are a must do at the moment. One is like a new trip to New Zealand when the Indian cricket team tours
Yeah,
New Zealand. So I want to watch a cricket. I want to watch a Test cricket match in New Zealand.
yeah.
So that's one thing. Second is there is a Spain Portugal trip that I'm very keen on. And third is whenever I get a chance, either I would love to go to Switzerland or I would love to go to Iceland.
Nice, nice. So I think the good part is you are looking at exploring one certain part, which currently at least I am not looking at, and I will get many more insights from that. My current thought process is of exploring one is either Kenya or Tanzania because I am intrigued by the migration phase which happens over there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I want to experience it firsthand.
yeah.
Yeah, to see the migration. So
And
that's
right,
something on my
these they
list.
look just very,
So
very different.
I am very curious about. So we growing over the years, like you. must have seen the chimneys are not existing right now. Our childhood was like we used to listen to the birds in the morning, right? So it's going out of our lives, but to see them firsthand in their natural habitat, I'm very curious about how. So I have been on safaris, but then to experience it, the complete range, right? The complete family. So my friend recently went to Tanzania with whom I covered, and prior to that also, the migration is playing on my mind. I want to experience that. I've seen some clips.
It's a very
Second
special
is,
experience that you have
yeah,
chosen to be part of your
yeah.
bucket list.
So one is that. Second is, I guess, South America, maybe Mexico or Peru. That is something which I'm intrigued by. That is so 2 3 countries, but the things you mentioned, I want to see a test match at Lords. In fact, post the WTC,
I was
my wife was
supposed to
asking
go
why
this
does.
year. I was supposed to go this year, but it's just that I was so lazy about booking my tickets
Yeah,
that I missed out. Uh, that I missed out actually. Otherwise, I mean the tickets. I just couldn't buy the tickets in time,
yeah,
and all the test matches are sold out. So,
yeah.
so yeah, I was supposed to be at Lords this year.
So that is one thing on my mind for one match at Lords, and hopefully some match of significance, maybe some WTC final, or because this one was a really good one, the recent one. And my wife was asking why is the Lords, because her father, that is my father-in-law, when they visited, they did the Euro trip. Lords was not a part of their itinerary, and he requested that he wants to visit Lords and especially go to that. So she does not have that association with why Lords balcony and Lords is so special, because she could not feel anything. But yeah,
In
so
regards
that
to him, that's a true cricket
yeah,
fan.
yeah.
Nice.
So thanks, Shailendra. Thanks for your time. Thanks for
Pleasure.
sharing your insights
Yes.
and inputs. This would be very helpful for all those who are thinking of exploring these countries, because right now the trend is not of visiting but exploring. And this in one way was uh, not just listening to what happened, but it was also more about what you explored, what you saw. Thanks for that. I will also request you to share some photos and videos from your
I
trip, so that that gives a picture to photo to what you shared as an experience, and I will then incorporate those in whatever moments we have discussed over here. So yeah, thanks for your time, and
thank
hopefully we
you.
connect
Thank you
again.
for having me.
Yeah.
Cheers.